Welcome back to Tampa, Florida. Ron Pitts, Mike Martz, Christina Pink down on the sideline, and she is standing by now with a very special Buccaneer. Christina?
All right, thanks a lot, Ron. You know, before I heard you guys talking about players buying in, and Greg Schiano really benefits from having a guy named Rondé Barber in that locker room. But today's Tampa Bay Times says it all. Is this it for Barber? He will have a very tough decision to make come December 31st, whether or not to come back for his 17th season. He's 37 years old, and he'll be a free agent this summer. I talked to Barber just moments ago, and he told me, hey, right now, I've got a job to do, and I'll worry about that later, Ron.
That's right, spoken like a true pro. The Rams win the toss, but they defer. They'll give the Bucs the ball right off the top. Roscoe Parrish says, nope, we will take it at the 20. And that man, Josh Freeman's number's pretty good, but he has been under a lot of heat here in town. And, Mike, that is partly due to not winning.
Well, you know, winning solves everything, as you know, but he's really had a terrific year this year, considering, you know, the moves that have been made in the offensive line, the struggles they've had there, and, you know, lack of depth at the wide receiver position.
Doug Martin behind him. Martin having an outstanding rookie year. Already set a club record for rookie rush yards and touchdowns. He'll get the call right off the top and get close to 4 yards. A look at the Bucs. Doug Martin will mention his name quite a bit today. Vincent Jackson, really the deep threat, and Josh Freeman talked about him this week.
Yes, he did, and really the confidence level that he has in him, particularly on the deep ball where he can put that ball out there and he'll go get it. And really, truly, the good ones do that.
A lot of injuries, a lot of changes for the offensive line for the Buccaneers all season long. They've had to deal with that. Movement after the pickup of 4 and our first flag today. Referee Scott Green will give us our first call. Robert Quinn went a little early.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. Number 94. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Josh Freeman hitting him with that hard count. You know, again, to remind you viewers, a hard count, you emphasize the first hut real hard to trying to get that defense to jump. And usually you like to get that if you're a veteran quarterback. Get it in there in the first series or so. Calm that pass rush down. And really that's what it's for, to keep back those rushes off on second long and third down situations.
So the penalty will make it a second down and 1. Freeman calls out to Mike Backer. And another give. That's Martin again, not much. May have lost Michael Brockers along with Quinn. And the defensive front for the Rams, boy, they're pretty solid. They've made some noise all season long. Quinn leading the team in sacks with 9.5. The linebackers, Jolon Dunbar, he'll make a lot of noise, of course, with the big leading tackler, Laurinaitis. The secondary, they've been nicked up a bit, but the corners, very physical, especially Cortland Finnegan. Third and short, Rams saying, no, that's 4th down. Let's see what the call is, though. Rams holding the edge in this series by 1 game, 9-8. The Bucs, though, have won 6 of the last 7 matchups. And this one is very close.
Jenkins and Finnegan at corner, I think, are developing into the best tandem of corners in the league, Ron. I think particularly with Janoris, the way he's played and getting the 2 picks in Arizona and return them pick 6s, and under Cortland Finnegan's tutelage, he's really developed into a very confident corner.
By the nose of the ball, it's a first down. Now, they didn't enjoy tackling Adrian Peterson last week, Coach. Adrian Peterson went over 200 yards rushing. He's just been on fire this season, but you know, you play him and you play that team up front right now, and you almost kind of expect it.
You got to bring a bottle of Tylenol when you do that, that's for sure.
212 yards rushing, to be exact, for Peterson last week. The bootleg to roll, there it is, wide open. That's Lorig the fullback. And he's got a nice pickup, at least 7.
And I think that both teams are struggling a little bit in the offensive line because of injuries. Both have dynamic running backs, and I think you can see the tempo of this game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be to run the football, some bootlegs, and be relatively conservative. Rams so far have put everybody up there on or near that line of scrimmage.
7 yards for Laurie. Second and 3 run. Martin in trouble already. Great play in the backfield there by Langford. Kendall Langford, the fifth-year man out of Hampton, is all over it.
And there's so many instances on this football team for tackles for loss, especially with Langford. It happened last week. They had a lot of these types of plays, but unfortunately they gave up 1 or 2 big hits, but they penetrate so well and get off blockers.
Jermaine Johnson cleans it up, but it's a loss of 4. This is a 3rd and 7. Bucs will go with Vincent Jackson down at the bottom of your screen. He's been the guy they like to go deep with. There it is, the big turn route. He's got Jackson, and Jackson has a first down at midfield. Bradley Fletcher on the coverage.
Well, what the Rams challenged that offensive line. They covered all 5 linemen and pressured him. They held up very, very well. The important thing about that route by Jackson is that he hugged it back. He came back to the ball, took away a lane for that quarterback to get his arm in there. Really a well-run route and a very fine throw. But the time that he had to throw was very important.
Freeman over the 4,000-yard mark passing. He did that coming into the game, the first 4,000-yard passer in franchise history. Now he's going to do it with his legs. Slide down to 35 and pick up another Buck first down. That's a pickup of 12.
Now take a look at they're challenging this offensive line. They're covering everybody here on the 3rd down and coming off the edge with a linebacker. They're going to match somebody up on passing downs on every one of those offensive linemen and make them hold up.
5 defensive backs on the field for the Rams. There's a quick wide receiver screen to Jackson, and Jackson very close to another Buccaneer first down. Chased down by the defensive lineman, Robert Quinn. Nice hustle.
And the first thing you do with pressure like that, whether it's coming off the edge or up inside, is you like to catch him in man coverage and throw a wide receiver screen out there. There's just a couple of guys that you got to take care of, and those are always nice games when you catch them in pressure like that.
That's a pickup of 9. They've got, Coach, what they would call manageable down and distances, right? Second and 1. This will be Martin. Martin pushes front side and almost got through there. Laurinaitis saved what would have been a big gain. He held it to 4.
And there's no question that Martin's a guy that you can build your offense around, along with Josh Freeman. I think they've got the beginnings of an outstanding offensive unit here for years to come. But he does so many things well. He has that burst. As you can see there, he broke some arm tackles. He's terrific vision. He is absolutely just going to set this league on fire. I'd buy all stock I can in that young man. I think he's pretty good.
Leads the team in total touchdowns with 11. First round pick, the second choice for the Bucs this year in that round. They'll give it to him again. Lowers his head. He'll be about 3 yards shy of the first down. Laurinaitis again. There's a pickup of 6.
And what he does for a smaller back is he will hit a crease and drop his pads and try and split those creases inside. He's not tentative about running inside, and he commits to a hole and he sells himself out on it and does a great job with his body lean. Protects the ball well as well.
4 100-yard rushing games this season for Martin.
And with all the injuries they've had in the offensive line, you have to appreciate what he's been able to accomplish.
Time for Freeman, and he finds Jackson again. Jackson giving the Rams a heavy dose. He takes a hit, but he's down inside the 10-yard line, close to the 7-yard line. That's a pickup of 11 yards.
Now, you know, the other thing about this is he's such a big target inside that, listen to this hit here. Boom. Boy, you really... There it is. Yes, there it is right there. You really have to appreciate how violent it is inside. And big receivers don't seem to bother him, but those little guys get a little tentative.
First down, Laurinaitis came in there with the hit. Freeman, 4 for 4, 45 yards. Mike Williams in motion. They'll stop the play.
False start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And what happened here is he saw the blitz coming off the tight end side there, which they had done on the previous snap, and he was trying to hold it so that the offensive line could see it and move the protection.
That was number 62, Ted Larson, with the call.
The Buccaneers have done a terrific job around so far in changing all these formations and forcing the Rams, if they are going to blitz, to adjust their alignments and flop it over. A lot of formation going on with the Bucs.
You're right, Coach, and look way up top. Doug Martin is split out. Empty backfield for Freeman. Martin comes back in. Freeman in trouble. Freeman will go down. Chris Long. 8.5 sacks now on the season for Long.
Well, he just did such a good job with his leverage on this thing. As he came off the edge here, he's going to watch his angle. Oh, see the swat and come right back inside. Well, you got to be a strong individual to hit that, take that right arm and move that tackle like that.
We talked briefly before the game. He said he was just having fun and enjoying it. He's got a lot of help around him now, and I think that's helped him pick the game up.
And I think that was important when they rebuilt those defenses to help him and make use of his talents and account for the other side as well in the pass rush.
Loss of 6. They just got the play off. 2nd and goal. Inside, a hot one. That's incomplete, intended for Jackson. He had bodies all around him.
You know, down here, the timing of everything when you're throwing the ball really speeds up. He got caught holding the ball a little bit and took the sack, but I think he really did. I think he felt like the receiver was going to bend underneath the safety a little bit. I'm not sure that there was real good communication there, but you can see the most sacks here in the league with 42, St. Louis, and really it goes back to the offensive line. When you have a lot of changes in the offensive line, those things are going to happen.
The Buccaneers have only allowed 22 sacks now on the season. Coming into today's game, that was 3rd in the NFL. 3rd and goal. In trouble. Freeman finds a man. That's Dallas Clark, the longtime Indianapolis Colt. But they're not close. They're going to have to settle for a field goal. He picks up 7.
Well, they probably are on their script, the 12 plays to start the game, but there was so much formationing and changing of strength of the formation in this series, causing the Rams to have to adjust, and it'll be interesting to see how much that continues. Once they got in the red zone, the Rams really went after him.
So they'll settle for Connor Barth, 29 yards out. We saw his numbers there briefly, 23 of 28 on the season from field goal range. Pressure's good. Chris Long almost got there, but the kick is up and away. So the Buccaneers can't get 6, but they'll take the 3 early using their rookie and some nice ad-libbing by Josh Freeman.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
3-0 game here in Tampa. Boy, look what Josh Freeman and the Bucs offense did to the clock.
Yeah, no question, and he's managing everything so well here at home. I think it's been 4 weeks or 4 home games since they've had a turnover here. It's pretty impressive. This is so different from last year when he was a turnover machine at times.
Kanan kicks it away. This will be Gibbons inside the end zone. He's got a lane, then takes a hit, goes up and over. That's Brandon McDonald with the tackle. Chris Long getting pressure early here in Tampa. 3-0 game.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Boy, absolutely vicious winter weather here in Tampa. I don't know how you can stand it, Coach. So Sam Bradford will take over at the 20-yard line. He's been on the bench a long time after that scoring drive. Boy, he laid Steven Jackson out to dry on that one. Hit by Adam Hayward, incomplete pass. And Bradford, yeah, he set a record, a career record for passing yards last week, but you know, for Rams fans, they're saying, yeah, but we didn't get the win, and Adrian Peterson ran all over us.
Well, I understand all that, but it is a confidence factor for the offensive line and receivers. There's a building of chemistry when you're that successful anyway, and I think you can build on that. I think that's important.
Jackson out of the formation. Bucs bring just 4. Ooh, ball is loose. There's a big hit on Amendola. The Buccaneers scramble for the ball. It's still loose, and the Rams end up with the football. Robert Turner somehow came up with it. Leonard Johnson at corner knocked it out.
Well, I tell you, there's been some collisions on this field.
If that was a fumble,
already.
yeah. Amendola
Gets to take 2 steps basically here. He's got the ball put away. It's a fumble.
Yep.
There was a change of possession on the play, so it will first down, St. Louis.
That was a picture-perfect tackle. Head across the front, and the ball hit and explode, wrap up, knock it out. This is a good tackling football team on defense.
Leonard Johnson now subbing in for the departure of 2 corners. Eric Wright served a 4-game suspension. Aqib Talib started the season, went on suspension, then was traded. So the Rams got the ball, and it looks like Schiano has got some questions for the referee, for the official. Doesn't matter. Oh, I was about to say it doesn't matter now, but the play is stopped just as the ball is snapped.
Please reset the game clock to 4:43. Thank you.
Well, and Ron, it's not been a secret that the Achilles heel of this football team has been the secondary. They've had some issues back there, and I think moving Rondé back to safety was a good move. We did that with Aeneas Williams. Extend his career. He can direct things and get guys lined up, and you know, he's got terrific ball skills. So, but they have struggled now in the secondary.
1st and 10, give to Jackson. Jackson had a crease, but then it closed up. That's a pickup of 3. Levante David with the tackle.
It's been a who's next in the offensive line all season, Ron. You know, you take a look at all these guys in the offensive line. Shelley Smith has been in and out all season long, but now he gets the nod to start here for Dahl with him going down. But they've had a turnstile of people in the offensive line.
Dahl starting at the left guard spot, his 5th start of the season, in place of Harvey Dahl out for the season. Man-to-man coverage, ball's up, and it's knocked away. Boy, another nice play by Leonard Johnson, working on Chris Gibbons.
You know what I love about this is that coaching staff is telling him they believe in him. You put him in a one-on-one situation like that, and he plays it beautifully.
Leonard Johnson, the rookie free agent out of Iowa State. This Bucs defense in the secondary ranked last in the NFL versus the pass. Coach, that's a little skewed because their rush defense, number 1, you give or take, which is causing the other, but a good play is a good play.
Yeah, that's a cause and effect. Yeah, no question. I think people, because of the injuries or the changes, have gone after him a little bit.
3rd and 7 throw, and they got it. Nice job on the long turn route. That's Gibbons. And Gibbons will have a Rams 1st down. They get out of the hole. David on the tackle. That's a pickup of 14. You look at the Bucs defensive line.
And they have been so good against the rush all year long. That front 7 has been, regardless of the attempts, they've been very effective against her. They penetrate, take things away, knock the ball out of there. Hard-nosed football up front.
Barber moves back to safety. Bill Tudor, the rookie Baron. Trying to get outside is Isaiah Peed. 2nd-round pick out of Cincinnati. He'll pick up a couple tackle by David. Out to Los Angeles, our first game break of the day. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Vikings trying to hold on to that 6th seed in the NFC. Up on top in Houston, Kyle Rudolph, 3-yard reception from Christian Ponder. 7-3 Vikings with the lead, and Ron and Mike so far 4 carries, 20 yards for Adrian Peterson, but it's early.
Boy, in Minnesota, along with Seattle, sitting there in nice position for that wild card spot, and actually Seattle with a win over San Francisco will clinch a playoff spot. The in route, and that's complete. That's Brandon Gibson, the team's leading touchdown man, so to speak. He's got 5. Nice looking play there.
Well, they brought actually an overload on the left side there. They picked it up very, very well, but that puts Brandon in one-on-one. He's got to win. There's nothing underneath him here, and you can see that area. They're all up in the face of the quarterback. They brought the ranch basically from the left side, and they did a terrific job of picking this up. They really did. They wadded up the pressure, and Sam stood in there. Sam Bradford stood in there, just made a nice throw under pressure.
That's first down. Jackson looking for his 8th straight 1,000-yard rushing season. He takes on Rondé Barber close to midfield. They'll call it a pickup of 4.
You know, I think both these teams would like to really rely in this game on the running game, really hang their hat on it, move the chains with it, and you know, defensively both teams are really using a lot of pressure. And the Rams lately in the season have resorted to some pressure, but both teams are very creative defensively in their pressures and really trying to test those offensive lines.
Fake the draw, 2nd and 6 throw. Knocked away. David again. Well, we've called David's name at least 3 times today already. That ball intended for Mike McNeil.
Well, and the Rams did a remarkable job picking up that pressure. Again, they were really trying to get the scraper or the linebacker free coming around the horn. They just sat right in there and hit it right in the mouth and took on David Levante. And you know, the one-on-one matchups, the Rams, we see this every week, Ron. They've got to win on these one-on-one matchups under pressure.
David, the team's leading tackle, the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Month back in November. 3rd and 6. Pressure, throws out, and it's caught. And that'll be a Rams first down. That's the tight end, Kendricks.
They just keep storming the gates. They are bringing the heat now on 3rd down, boy. They are really bringing it. The thing I like so much about Tampa is their creativity within their pressure. They change it all the time. You can see here they're first against the rush. Part of giving up those yards in the passing games is they put your corners on an island, as you know, and you got to hold up out there. And he's challenged those guys. He hasn't backed off a bit from it.
7 on the pickup. Draw, Jackson will get about 3. Daquan Bowers on the tackle, and that will start the wind down here in the first quarter. And really, the Buccaneers took the first quarter from the Rams with that first drive.
Well, it was an enormous drive time-wise. Ate up the clock and kept the offense, obviously kept the Rams off the field with Sam Bradford.
Rams still with no first quarter points since week 10 versus the Jets. First quarter gone, 3-0. Bucs. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.
Somewhere I grew a beard and had to shave it off. Everybody kept telling me what they want for Christmas.
Christina, stay away from that guy. We start the second quarter. Ron Pitts, Mike March, Christina Pink. We've got a 3-0 game. Buccaneers start off with a 9-minute, 38-second drive. Got 3 points out of it. Rams are driving. That was a high one and another great grab. Hey, we talked about this week with Sam Bradford. Chris Gibbons slowly starting to become, what do you say, that go-to guy, that comfort guy for Sam Bradford.
What he can do, Chris Gibbons can push a corner off and get separation. He has that stop-and-go speed and quickness, and what we're seeing out of Sam Bradford is certainly more throws downfield than what we're accustomed to. He's really taking on these dig routes, these deep ends, and these deep curls, and doing a great job with anticipating these throws.
Gibbons, a 4th-round pick this year out of Wake Forest. That's a pickup of 14. Pressure picked up by Jackson. Allows the throw. It's going to be tight. And it's picked off. That's Gore. Working on Amendola. Gore, another sub guy coming in, activated week 11, picked up off of waivers from Seattle week 8. Sub stepping in, making big plays for the Buccaneers. Second turnover of the day for the Rams, and boy, I question ball placement on that one.
Well, he really could have let that ball outside, and he let him inside. And of course, that's going to cover. If the coverage is really good, it'll end up like that.
First career interception for Danny Gore. Martin head up there with Laurinaitis, but he's going to have a healthy 4, maybe 5 on the play.
Take a look at this interception. The Ram front does a terrific job here of building a wall. Boy, they brought the pressure here, and he's got plenty of time. You just would like him to put that ball right out here and let him bend to it a little bit more if he can, you know. And if you lead him inside, a terrific coverage by Gore. Terrific coverage. Arm barred him, got himself in perfect position.
Gore actually played with the Rams back in 2009. Played in one game. Spent time with Baltimore along with Seattle, as I previously mentioned. Nice move there by Martin. Wow. He takes a hit by Dahl, but I believe he's got the first down. It'll depend on the spot.
Was that Martin, or was that Barry
Sanders? Huh?
That was a Sanders move if I ever saw. Stop, skip, jump, hop. Watch this. Wow. Boom, hop, change direction, back inside. Vision and quickness.
Second leading rookie rusher in the NFL. Alfred Morris with Washington first. But Martin comes into this game needing 295 yards for the franchise single-season all-time rush record that would eclipse James Wilder back in '85, 15:44. While running. Long, going for a second sack. Can't clean it up, but it's cleaned up again there. Langford on the outside comes right up the pipe, and he'll get his first sack of the day.
Yeah, you like to see him get rid of that. I think he felt like he couldn't make the throw, so he just kind of pulled it down. As you watch the pressure here, when he steps up off this play action, you got leakage in here, and at that point, there's not much he could do. He couldn't get his arm free to throw it away. You have to take the sack there. Chris Long showing it big, boy.
Sure is. Langford now with 2 sacks on the season. He had an early stop in the backfield in the first quarter. The screen, boy, it didn't develop. And a smart move there by Freeman to throw it down. Out to Los Angeles at update time. Here's Kurt Menefee.
With a win, the Bengals clinch a playoff spot and eliminate the Steelers at the same time. Leon Hall trying to do both in one play. Picks off Ben Roethlisberger. 17 yards for a 7-0 lead as they wind down the first quarter there in Pittsburgh. Ron and Mike?
Well, as Kurt said, Cincinnati wins, they will clinch a spot. Right now, Cincinnati along with Indianapolis for the 2 remaining wild card spots.
And you detect a little frustration with Roethlisberger in some of his comments, and I've just not heard that out of him before.
Yeah, very critical of Todd Haley, offensive coordinator, in the play calling, and that loss to Dallas. And here's a pick. That's Janoris Jenkins. Jenkins to 10 to 5. He turns and he's in for the Rams touchdown. Janoris Jenkins with a great play, Coach.
And that's how I shouldn't have thrown a play. He hung on to it too long. He was trying to make, he knew he had it one-on-one on the outside, but the timing of it just took too long. Receiver falls down, that's never going to be good. These are the things that Josh Freeman's going to wear as being his fault, but the receiver fell down.
And for Jenkins, that is his 4th touchdown of the season. He's making a habit of this. Now that is 4 interceptions, 2 for touchdowns, and a fumble return for a touchdown.
And like we said at the open here, I think both of these corners, I think you'd agree with me. We were talking about this the other day. This might be the best duo in the league right now, or head in that direction. But what a tandem of corners these guys have now. Portland Finnegan and Janoris.
Extra point is clean. And for Jenkins, now he's 2nd on the team in touchdowns, next to Gibson with 5. That'll help your contract when it comes up, huh?
Today's game is sponsored by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Warner Brothers Pictures' Gangster Squad. In theaters everywhere January 11th. And by Microsoft Surface.
Nice play for the Florida native. 41-yard interception return for a touchdown. And the Rams take the lead.
He might have to play a little receiver for the Rams, the way he can catch football and go.
Jenkins from Pahokee, Florida. About 2 hours south of here. Doing it right for the home state folks. What did you say, Coach? DB's corners can't catch very well a lot of times.
You couldn't wait, could you?
That's a Christmas present.
Today's game is sponsored by the all-new Ford Fusion. Go further.
Second quarter, we've got a 7-3 game. We've just had a 41-yard interception return for a touchdown by Janoris Jenkins. Play action to Martin, the quick throw out. Tight end, actually, that's Luke Stocker. And Stocker.
Let's take a look at this interception again, Ron. As he gets back deep in the pocket, it gets a little dicey back there, but he's got time. Deep route, stop it right there. He's throwing the football, and you can see he's on the ground. Now, you can't wait to see a receiver come out of the break to throw him the ball. You have to time that and let that ball go. Otherwise, you're going to get sacked. You got to anticipate things. Josh will wear that as an interception. People blame him. That's the nature of it, but he's had too many of those this year.
They'll go back to the run game. That's Martin for 2. And a pickup of 6 on the previous play by Stocker. Laurinaitis on that tackle. And, Coach, that's an old vertical passing game play. Remember the Rams running those deep comebacks back in the day with guys like Henry Ellard put their foot in the ground about 20 yards down the field, and the quarterback has to trust that he's going to be there.
Well, and you said it right when you said put your foot in the ground. You've got to be sudden coming out of that thing. If he got caught on both feet there, he couldn't get out of it, and you just can't have that as a wide receiver in the NFL.
Looking, takes a hit, but the ball is out. What a catch by Dallas Clark. That ball thrown behind Clark. He kind of one-hands it, uses the chest plate or the shoulder, and picks up 8.
Watch the hit that Josh Freeman takes here. Did not lead with the helmet, but that's just part of the deal. You know, you just pick yourself up and move on.
That was Quentin Michael on the pressure, and Jolon Dunbar on the coverage and the tackle.
Go down! Knock the ball! Go down! Knock the ball! Hey, Martin Lord! Mike 50! Hey, Mike's 5'8", Mike's 5'8".
Great audio from our guys down in the truck here. Ball is lost for a second as a flag goes down. Martin lost it. Laurinaitis claps his hands saying, we had a chance.
You know, looks like a face mask penalty on the Rams.
Personal foul, grabbing a face mask, number 50, defense. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
That's Rocky McIntosh.
You know what? Watch this. Nice camera, huh? How about this by our guys in the truck? Look at this.
There it is. Picked it up.
You know, the thing about the ball there is he did not have his hand over the tip. He did not have a squeeze on it. He was not holding it high and tight, fundamentals.
You talk about ball security. Our director, Jeremy Green, pulling up all the nice angles there. LeGarrette Blunt steps in now at the tailback spot. Pressure, Michael. Ball is loose. And it's recovered by the Buccaneers. Michael came around the corner along with McIntosh. They got the ball out.
I'm talking to Jeff Fisher. He had thought that they could get a number of turnovers in this game by getting to the quarterback and getting that ball out of there. And there's a perfect example of it. And I think they're just going to continue to storm the gate. You can see both backers coming there off the edge, and they're going to challenge those receivers, as most teams have done this year, Ron. Challenge them to get off one-on-one coverage, which they've struggled with, and then bring the ranch. And I think that's going to be the theme, rather, the Buccaneers, the theme with these wide receivers is challenge them one-on-one.
Loss of 8. Blunt miss the blitz pickup. A little half roll, second and long. Jackson stumbled as he caught it, and he's mad, but they'll take that completion down around the 50-yard line. Michael on the coverage.
And he's quietly, Vincent Jackson's quietly having a terrific year. Big play receiver, big receiver for the quarterback, and every quarterback would love to have a guy his size and ability where he can lay that ball out there, and whether or not he's got coverage, he can still go get it and position his body much the same that you do in basketball.
That was good for 7. They've got at least 10 to go. 11 officially. Oh, early. Chris Long pointing. Jamon Meredith pointing at Chris Long.
Unabated to the quarterback, defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty. They're down.
That'll make it a little easier for the Bucs.
Hard count, got him again. I wonder if Howie had a hard time with the hard count. I don't think so.
I don't know. I think if you're going to be really good at this position, you have got to take your chances and get off the ball like that every now and then.
Look at all the fingers pointing. Nobody's going to take. Look at this.
Funny.
Look at this. I confess, he did it.
More manageable 3rd and 6. The corner's coming. There's 21 Jenkins, and they throw right to where he came from. Very nice side adjustment out to Mike Williams, and I believe Williams will have the first down.
That's good to see Mike come back after falling down that right, Mike Williams, and make that catch. Really, really a nice job here.
That's a gain of 7.
And you can see here, there's going to be a blitz, and this is what you call a side adjust. He's going to do a little quick turnaround right there and get the ball out. That's what we call a side adjustment versus the blitz. You have that for safety and corner blitzes.
7 yards on that 3rd and 6. And they've got a new set of downs. Downhill. Martin. Coach, what is it about Doug Martin? You look at him and you say, okay, he's not a high stepper. I think he's got good speed, but it's not off the chart speed. Why is he so productive in his runs?
Because the speed that he has, he can alter it within a step or two. You know, like Marshall Faulk could do that. You know, they can burst in short pieces and get through little skinny windows and they can see that, you know, more than anybody else does. That's what makes him so unusual.
That's a pickup of 7. Second and short, going up. Jackson's got a step. I believe he's out of bounds. The ball is where it needed to be, but tight coverage by Jenkins.
Just a little bit outside, but they're doing the right thing. They have to highlight. They do have to highlight him and get him the ball more. And if he could have kept this ball a little bit more vertical, kept it in bounds, what a terrific grab, huh?
Boy, that left foot came up by the time he had possession, but that's what they brought Jackson in here to do.
And with the pressures that the Rams are bringing, I just think they need to go ahead and feature him. You know, they're not, these corners, as good as they are, he's going to give them a heck of a time in this game.
7 years in San Diego, 2 Pro Bowls for Jackson. Looks front side, boy, he took a hit. And Williams is screaming for the flag.
Wow.
They won't get it.
I think they got away with one there.
Out to Los Angeles. Update. Here's Kurt Menefee.
And an update on the Cowboys and Saints. Big play for Dallas, both in the game and for their season. Tony Romo hooking up 58 yards on the touchdown to Des Bryant. 7th straight game Bryant has scored a touchdown. It's all 7s there in the second quarter right now. Ron and Mike.
And a look at the playoff picture in the red-hot NFC East. This will be 49 yards out now for Barth. He already made from 29. And boy, that was 3 feet high and rising, but he got the distance. So the Buccaneers close the gap. 1-point game. Jeff Fisher left and Greg Schiano right. Coaches a similar situation first year coaching these particular teams, but a little different dynamics for each.
Well, Jeff had a chance to look at the roster with the Rams ahead of time and come in with knowledge of what was on that roster, the moves that had to be made, and was able to make those changes, really, which is really unusual to come in right away and make all those changes and affect it the way he has. And then on the other side, Greg Schiano, coming right from college, did not have that opportunity, so he effectively was a little bit behind.
Kanan will drive this one down to the 9 yards deep, that is, in the end zone, and Gibbons will say we'll take it on the 20-yard line. Time winding down here in the first half, 1-point game.
This game is sponsored by Cadillac, the standard of the world. By Zero Dark 30 in theaters January. And by Samsung Galaxy Note 2. The next big thing is here.
One-point game here in Tampa. Ron Pitts, Mike Martz, and really one thing that the Buccaneers have been able to do this season is get the football in terms of turnovers. They came in with a +7 giveaway takeaway, and the Rams in 2 possessions have already turned it over twice, a fumble and an interception.
And again, that goes back to the details that we saw them execute in the beginning of the year. They really stressed the form tackling and stripping and being in the right position and the fundamentals of playing good hard-nosed defense before they get into all the packages that you do.
Dangerous. Boy, they tried to throw the quick wide receiver screen for Amendola. Well, on January 4th, one of the best bowl games of the year is on Fox. Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against number 11 Oklahoma, the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic. It's January 4th only on Fox. And Landry Jones for Oklahoma actually played behind Sam Bradford there.
Yes, we talked to Sam about that. He had a lot of fun with that.
Jones finally getting his moment in the sun. Jackson not able to get going. A hit in the backfield. That's Levante David again, the team's leading tackler. No gain on the play.
What really strikes me in this game is that you can hear the pads up here. You know, the contact by these guys, by the Bucs on defense, has been outstanding. They are downhill on everybody. They are getting to the ball and getting there in a bad mood.
David, the 2nd-round pick this year out of Nebraska. This Bucs team coming in after a 41-0 thrashing in New Orleans by Drew Brees and the Saints. Coach gave them a couple days off. They look hungry on defense. Seam throw in between 2 people. I'm not sure what he saw there. It looked like Barber had a chance for it along with Anthony Gator.
Well, they're trying to run an out underneath a seam route, trying to get a little pick action going there, which is really a good concept, but they just kind of got jammed together there. And this is what the Rams have struggled with each year, each game, where they're getting pressured on Sam Bradford, and he's got to find a receiver that can beat the DB one-on-one. And they really struggle with that.
First punt today by either team. This is Roscoe Parrish, and Parrish is crunched. Stewart is there first. The Bucs' hot rookie running back up next.
I'm serving out here at Fox Salerno, Afghanistan, 3rd Brigade Rocket Sun. I would like to give a shout out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Josh Freeman, Ronde Barber. Go Bucs!
And a shout out to the men and women around the globe serving in our armed forces, protecting our freedom. Thank you.
And Merry Christmas to all of them.
Absolutely. A lot of those men and women away from their families. Tough time of the year to be away from home. And we were talking during the break. You said that wasn't really that bad of a read by Sam. It was just a great play by that man, Ronde Barber.
Ronde read it beautifully. And against man-to-man coverage, a DB normally has inside leverage, and you run a deep out, you should be able to win. And he read it, he smelled it, and he broke on it, and it was perfect position. He just got tangled up there with another defender.
Hey, watch out the thing go! Watch out the thing go! Mike 5-5, Mike 5-5. Hey,
Martin busts and bangs, gets out to about the 38, maybe 2 or 3. Michael with the tackle.
Well, you could hear in the sound, what a great job by our guys bingo. Bingo was a safety blitz, and he was alerting everybody to that. But take a look here at the rush yards by a rookie, and we've got a whole bunch of them this year, Ron. This is very unusual, but what a terrific year for runners. And Doug Martin's right up there, you know, near the top with Alfred Morris.
Different types of running styles, and I think Morris's style fits the Redskins and their old ground and pound type of offense. But
no question,
Martin has done well here. In route, Williams held on to that one and got across midfield. That's a first down.
Yeah, anytime you have a bad play like that with between the receiver and the quarterback, like the interception earlier, you'd like to get them both into the game and get them going again, because you're going to have them feeling good about each other here to win this thing in the end of the second half.
A pickup of 13, Dunbar with the tackle.
They've done a really good job of formation, the Rams, and making them to adjust with all their alignments.
Hard count, play action, looking deep, goes underneath, and that one's picked off. Laurinaitis. That's Laurinaitis' second interception of the season, and a pretty big one. It thwarts the drive and turns the ball over to his offense.
We take a look at Laurinaitis there on the sideline, and terrific job, but he got caught up in the line of scrimmage. He got back and was able to make that pick. What an athlete.
Interception's an issue lately now for Josh Freeman. Jackson is through. Steven Jackson goes head on, knocks 3 people out, including one of his own men, and gets about 11 on the play, 12 officially and a first.
Well, take a look at James Laurinaitis here. He's going to get caught up with the play fake all the way up in the line of scrimmage, and you'd like to take advantage of that. There's a big window back there, but the route kind of stays over on the side over there. You'd like to see him maybe bend that route inside, but ill-advised throw. Just too many white jerseys there.
Freeman with 4 interceptions in that loss last week for the Saints. Pump fake. Back to Jackson. Goes backwards. Maybe they'll give him 2. And we talked about Jackson running over 3 people. This is what you call cleaning house, Coach.
Yeah, this is taking the ball and going forward. This is attitude football. Cover it up, split the defenders, and move the pile.
Now, Coach, you brought Steven in there as a rookie when you were coaching there with the Rams. What was he like? What has his transition been like as a pro?
Well, he's matured so much, Ron, from when I knew him. He's such a delightful young man. He's the guy you want in the locker room, and there's just so many positives about him.
Wide open is Kendricks across the field, and Kendricks steps out after a first down, pushed out by David. Out to Los Angeles. Here's another update. Kurt Menefee.
And the Redskins trying to control their own fate. They win the last 2 games. They win the NFC East. They've taken the lead at Philadelphia. Josh Morgan, 11-yard touchdown reception from RG3. And they lead at 13-7 approaching halftime. Ron and Mike.
And I'll echo what Jimmy Johnson said on the pregame show. He said right now the Redskins in the East are playing with the most passion and enthusiasm. And that might be what kicks them over. 2-minute warning here in Tampa. A blitz fest, as Coach says, 1-point game. 1st and 10 for the Rams. Chris Williams has stepped in at the guard spot for Shelley Smith. They are now down to their, I guess it would be the 3rd guard, because Smith was replacing Harvey Dahl, who was put on injured reserve this past week.
Well, hats off to the offensive line. They've really done a good job in protecting Sam Bradford. They just have got to create some separation with these receivers somehow.
Change the play, going up on the fade, tight coverage. Intended for Gibbons, and it's not there. Ron Pitts, Mike Martin. So we continue to talk about the transition. Both coaches are going through very similar on each team.
Well, no question. And there's some weaknesses, obviously, on both rosters that they'll have to address at the end of the season. But the whole idea, as we've said many times, it gets overused probably, but to change the culture first and create that attitude and that environment in the locker room is really paramount.
Something you have to address quickly. And Jeff Fisher, 26 years of total NFL coaching experience, and Schiano coming in his first year as an NFL head coach. That one a little high for Amendola.
you know, whenever a quarterback misses a throw like that on the sideline, it always goes back to his feet and the tempo. You quicken your step, just like a piston. You slow your feet down, that ball has a tendency to take off on you. You keep a good tempo when you come out on the edge there, and you'll be accurate.
This is a 3rd and 10. Man-to-man coverage, one safety free. A throw and a catch. He went backwards. I believe they're going to mark the forward progress initially. That's for Brandon Gibson. And that should be a first down.
Brandon did a terrific job here of separating, got his foot in the ground, like you said earlier, where he got his foot in the ground, was able to come back to the football and create that cushion for the quarterback. I think the pickup here is terrific again by this offensive unit. They brought the ranch again, and you can see Brandon attack the football. Aggressive receiver, what you need.
13 yards on a 3rd and 10, first down. Jackson pushing for that 1,000-yard mark. He'll get one.
This Tampa defense is just attacking the gate. They are storming the castle, boy. They are bringing everybody.
That's a pickup of one and a timeout called.
This is their first charge
by the Rams. They've got 2 left. Let's see what's coming up at the half. Let's go out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt.
All right, coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, a special holiday edition as both the Steelers and Bengals wrestle over the same Christmas gift, a playoff berth. A berth that the Indianapolis Colts can get if they just win a game. We'll tell you about it coming up on the Visa Halftime.
And there's a look at Greg Schiano. Now, he spent some time with the Bears as an assistant in this league, but it's probably a little different when you come in and you're the head coach in an NFL team.
Well, and I think the thing that's so different for him, and you mentioned this, was the scrutiny of the media. From when he left the NFL and he came back, and he certainly doesn't get that scrutiny at Rutgers in college, and you come here and everything that you do is kind of under a magnifying glass, and that was an adjustment for him.
I mentioned earlier, currently they're on a 4-game losing streak. Gave his players some time off this week. Thought they were a little burnt, tried to freshen things up. There's a fresh throw right down to the 5-yard line. You talk about threading the needle, that's Kendricks. Kendricks with a couple nice catches today. Mark Barron around the area. 13 yards on the play. Rams with 2 timeouts, under a minute. Jackson looking at the end zone. Is he in? He stretched the knee. No, that's a touchdown. A late call, but that is a touchdown. You see Jeff Fisher all the way out to the goal line there. I thought he was a line judge.
But you've got 26 years in the league, I guess you can go wherever you want.
There, right?
You know? Stephen did a terrific job of extending without getting that knee. He was absolutely prone on that. I was watching that knee, and I think it was a good call by the official. You watch him get prone here and really stretch out with that ball's extended before the knee or anything else touches. I think he did a terrific job in terms of, you know, keeping flat there and not using that knee to get in.
And you saw the graphic there, Jackson with the touchdowns. And a nice drive, 9 plays, 65 yards. And I'll echo once again, Coach, what he told us yesterday in our production meeting. It would break his heart, being that he's a free agent and things could change at the end of the season. It would break his heart to not be here after all the energy and work that he and his teammates have put into this thing, to not be here when it turns around.
No, he's pretty emotional about it.
Under review.
Plays under review, and getting back to Stephen, he was pretty emotional about it. I was not surprised necessarily, but he's really committed to being with the Rams and seeing this thing through and winning a championship. And he's got time left in the tank there. I believe he's got plenty of time left in this league. He's not done yet.
And then a lot of people will say, okay, well, you take a running back that at that juncture in his career, 9th year in the league, all right, you know, he's over the 10,000-yard rushing mark. How much do you pay a running back like that, or do you even take a chance on a running back?
Well, that's going to be the question for him, what he will accept with the Rams. They will have to downgrade his pay, and what is he willing to accept? And so many times with these players, egos get in the way, and coaches too. I mean, we're all the same. You like to get paid, so when you have a chance to stay with that team and maybe take a little bit less, you kind of have to weigh that option. And if you really want to do that, then maybe that's what you got to do. And I hope it works out, because they need him, and I think it's just a great opportunity for Steven and his career to finish up right.
And you saw firsthand how Marshall Faulk basically took him under his wing.
Well, he did. And this was something at the time Steven did not realize or appreciate. But the maturity factor, now that he's been in the league a while and matured, he really reflects back and appreciates the unselfishness that Marshall used by sharing with him and trying to help him. And he kind of fought that a little bit. And looking back at it, he said, it's kind of remarkable how unselfish Marshall was. And actually, we went to put him in.
Reviewing the play. The ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
And actually, he didn't realize the unselfishness. Here's a guy that's on his way to Hall of Fame, and he's trying to help basically the guy that's trying to replace him. And he didn't quite get that, I don't think, and maturity comes in. He's trying to do that right now himself with the youngsters that he has on this team. And I think he's a terrific guy to have in the locker room, and just a very mature and outstanding professional.
So count the score, the review by rule. It's good. And they'll try to tack on the extra point. This is Zerline. He's got it. No real rush. So the Rams put together a very nice drive, winding down here in the first half. And their money man, so to speak, puts them up 14-6. The scoring drive, but all of the Rams' points today off turnovers.
And no question, as you go back and look at those turnovers too, I think, if I'm not mistaken, those 2 interceptions are off of long count passes, and perhaps they go and look at the second half and with Vincent Jackson try to throw a little bit more slants and up-tempo kind of throws to defeat this pressure that the Rams are bringing.
32 seconds left. The Buccaneers with 3 timeouts. Harris back deep. Stuck in the corner. They'll take the touchback. Well, tomorrow Fox will kick off a holiday comedy marathon with a week of television's best. Monday, it's Raising Hope. Tuesday, it's Nothing But New Girl. Then on Wednesday, an all-new Ben and Kate. Thursday, we'll wrap up with The Mindy Project. And it will all start tomorrow right here on Fox. And Josh Freeman with 6 interceptions the last 5 quarters. Ouch.
But again, let's look at what he's doing. Maybe it's a 3- and 5-step drop, quicker tempo throws to beat these pressures. And it seems like the turnovers are coming on these deeper drop type of plays.
He's got 32 to work with. Cut block by Penn. It opens it up for Martin. Martin hit, still going. Martin just outside of the 25-yard line, a pickup of 8. That was a hard 8.
And Chris Long came all the way around to get it on the pile there. I just love his motor and what he brings to this team, the energy that he brings to this football team.
Well, that's coming straight from Jeff Fisher. Of course, Fisher, a defensive coach, played in the league as a defensive player and return man, but he's preached that from day one. If you do not run to the ball,
That's the end of the first half.
You will not play here, and they are going in. They'll call it a 14-6 game at the half.
And they've moved, Tampa's moved the ball well. They just got to eliminate obvious turnovers like this and get Martin back involved in the running game as much as they can. The one-on-one matchups are juicy, and you want to take advantage of them, but perhaps they can get some quicker throws out there and throw the ball to Martin as well here in the second half. We'll see.
Freeman 11 of 17, 100 yards, the big number there, the 2 picks, and Bradford 8 of 16 and 1 pick. This is the half, 14-6 Rams. Right now, let's go to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee. Here comes the Visa halftime show.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a 57 Chevrolet. Jingle bells. jingle, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. Over fields we go, laughing all the way.
Hey, that was the music of the Brian Setzer Orchestra. We're happy to play that. Be playing it all weekend long for you here on Fox Sports. And be sure and follow your favorite NFL team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Brian Setzer, that's a little Stray Cats for you, Coach.
A what? What's this?
Remember the Stray Cats? That's not your generation.
No. If you said the Temptations or, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, then I'd be on. But I don't know what a Stray Cat is. I beg your pardon. I'm not there.
That's a little rockabilly music.
Oh, okay.
A few years ago. But we're all past that point. All right. We're ready for the second half kickoff. And there it is. That one out of the end zone. Touchback, and the Rams will start on the 20-yard line. The turnovers now the issue really for both teams. They've got to settle down.
Well, the pick six is devastating, obviously, for Josh Freeman. I think they need to look at these deep drops because they're not effective. They've hit some quicker throws with Vincey Jackson and get that ball to Doug Martin. I think that's where they'll head. I think Steven Jackson's going to carry the load the second half for the Rams.
Sets up on the other side. Fake to Jackson. He's got one free up the seam, and that's Kendricks. If he's got some speed, he'll score. He got a block. He may score. He will score. 80 yards, first play of the second half. Lance Kendricks, he got a great block by Danny Amendola, and he was gone.
Well, they caught him in a two-deep coverage, and when that happens with a hard ball fake, you can see these linebackers are all up inside, and there is nobody between the safeties. They just caught him at the perfect time. Had they been in pressure, they wouldn't have got it. But the perfect call for that defense, and they executed it, of course, very well. But those linebackers were all up in the line of scrimmage with that hard fake like that. This is a well-designed play, and they caught him in that cover two again.
Kendricks, a second-year man out of Wisconsin, second-round pick last year. His fourth touchdown of the year and his long of the year. He had a set of 37, but that one's for 80. And the Rams jump on the Bucs early here in the third quarter.
Boy, what a terrific block by Danny Amendola on this play as well. As you watch him get into the picture right there.
Oh, boy.
And got two, kind of.
Doesn't matter how you get it.
No, just terrific effort, and that's winning football. Hustling downfield and helping your teammate. And we just call that convoy. You want to build a convoy of all your receivers on offense down the field once the receiver gets into the secondary. Everybody's chasing the ball, trying to help out.
And for Bradford, that is the longest pass play of the season, 80 yards. And as you brought up there, Coach, they just flat out forgot about the tight end up the seam.
Well, and again, they've got to, they all have their run keys. The offensive line for the Rams, the hats, their helmets are down in their run fake, and linebackers and safeties key those hats, and they did a terrific job of a low profile and gave a good run read to the secondary and the linebackers, and they took the cheese, so to speak, and they came all the way up inside.
That's impressive for Kendricks. That bear gets on your back about 45 yards down the field.
Well, I think maybe as soon as he touched the ball, that he heard that growl.
He pushed through it. That ball loose into the end zone. Trouble getting on it. Parrish gets on it for the touchback. Let's go down to Christina Pink.
Thanks, Ron. Well, Jeff Fisher told me at halftime he liked the way they ended the first half. Sure, he'll like the way they started the second half. Also saying that they need to capitalize on possessions, which they just did, and have more balance between the run and the pass. Now, Greg Schiano told me that he knew coming in that the Rams like to pressure, so Josh Freeman has to make sure he gets the ball out quicker and, of course, limit those turnovers. Ronnie?
All right, Christina. Christina, you're a Florida native. You're back in the home state. Good information there by both sides. Keep an eye on that.
He did great.
Rams shifting down the front. Bobbled a little bit, but Martin with a healthy pickup on first down. That'll be about 6 yards.
Now they need to respond to that score, and they need to respond with patience and highlight their players. The guys that will score points and make plays for them. Doug Martin's got to he has to carry the load here in the second half, and Vincey Jackson is their big play receiver. He's your clutch receiver on third down, and I think this game is going to end up, for the Bucs anyway, a combination of those two guys in the second half.
Second down throw intended for Clark, not there. Look at Laurinaitis. Lead your team in tackles, but he'll be there for the pass as well.
He just has such a great awareness of both pass routes and his run keys. He gets downhill in a hurry, and like the old saying, he gets there in a bad mood.
Turnovers the story in this one. That along with pressures from both defenses, as Coach has mentioned. 3rd and 4. This is a quick one, and that one's picked off. I just mentioned turnovers. I believe he was contacted. That's Trumaine Johnson for his second interception of the year, and the Boo Birds are out, intended for Mike Williams.
Well, you know, again, when you get a wide receiver one-on-one on a corner, you got to get him off of you and get across his face. This is all on the receiver. You can see he just got in there a little bit early. Got to take up that slack and cross his face. You cannot give the corner a break to the ball.
Boy, it's the rookie show here in terms of defensive backs. Janoris Jenkins took one to the house. Now Johnson. And we mentioned the troubles that Freeman has had with interceptions. He threw 4 last week. He's got 3 today. Back on pace, unfortunately. Richardson almost broke it. Darrell Richardson, the 7th round pick out of Abilene Christian.
Let's go back and take a look at this slant route. The corner's eyes comes right back off it, but you can see the break that he has. He is ahead of the receiver. He gets a jump on it, and a lot of that has to do with the angle in which he comes off the ball. I'm talking about Mike Williams. He has to nose up that corner and not give leverage to the corner where he can take time and distance and get to the ball quicker.
The Buccaneer is down. Looks like Gary Gibson.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Dr. Pepper 10 bold calories, 23 flavors. By Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss.
Coach, I think we're beginning to see just how important that old giveaway-takeaway ratio can be.
So no question. And, you know, especially in a simple play like that in your own territory.
Giveaway-takeaway turnover ratio, that's Richardson. And he's hit by David. And Freeman with 3 picks today. Not all his fault.
Well, particularly this one, Mike Williams falls down, and this one I think you got to kind of own that as a quarterback. You got to see that. And then the slant, though. He's got 2 of them in there where you just really got to do a better job as a wide receiver for the quarterback. Now, this has been a problem for them all year. They've struggled with this. You keep hearing a miscommunication between the quarterback and receivers, and we're sure seeing it today.
The 3rd and 3, and that's Amendola. Rams happy to get Amendola back. Second game back out the previous 2 weeks with a bad foot.
But you look at the timing of that throw. Danny Amendola had his back to the quarterback completely, and that ball had left Sam Bradford's hand. And the confidence that he has now with Danny Amendola back full speed and being able to get rid of the ball, knowing exactly what he's going to do, is very, very important.
8 yards on the play. Quick throw to slant, and that's going to be another first down. That's Gibbons. For a Redskins update, back to Los Angeles. Hey, here's Patrick O'Neill. Patrick.
All right, Rod, thanks a lot. In Philadelphia, what a year for Washington rookie running back out of Florida Atlantic, Alfred Morris, his 10th rushing touchdown. So with RG3 under center, Washington, their sights on the NFC East, leading Philly 20-10 in the third. Ron, Coach Marks, back to you.
All right, the Redskins clinch a playoff spot with a win plus a Giants loss plus a Chicago loss and a Minnesota loss. So they got some things that need to go on there in addition, but they are definitely playing with a lot of passion.
Yeah, I think we're looking at the year of the running back. You look at these 3 rookies in here that have come in and just have outstanding years rushing the football. We got a player down at
Johnson. Yeah, Johnson made the tackle. He's under his own power getting off the field.
Well, they don't need that now, boy.
They can't afford to have it.
Just can't have that.
Reset the scene for you here. It's been all about turnovers. Josh Freeman had 4 last week. He's got 3 today. Not all his fault, but as Coach always says, you're going to own them sometimes, and that's the case today.
Yeah, I feel his frustration. I really do. He's such a good player, and I just think people will kind of dogpile him. It's just not deserved. He's just a good player.
The Rams getting their points today off the turnovers. Play action, wide open, touchdown. That's Austin Pettis. That's his 3rd of the year.
Taking advantage of showing the ball to number 39, Steven Jackson, and getting a reaction out of that whole defensive front, and then just popping the little seam route back behind him.
So now 21 points off of turnovers for the Rams. This all started with the Tremaine Johnson interception, his 2nd of the season. Right there in your coaching your red zone. And it just makes it too easy for the opposing offense. Ball's up, everything clean. The Rams starting to pour it on in a game that they have to have if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. They got to win and get a lot of help. They're doing their part thus far. 21 unanswered points today for the Rams, and some very timely interceptions, 1 for a touchdown.
Well, and Jeff Fisher talked to us about getting turnovers. They felt like they could get multiple turnovers in this game, and they certainly have. But there's just a feeling of confidence with this group.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fox Sports is proud to partner with the Children's Organ Transplant Association during our NFL on Fox coverage. CODA is giving hope and making miracles for families whose children are facing transplants. To help change a child's life, please visit coda.org/Fox Sports. That's a very worthy cause. Please take time to visit that site. So the Rams in control of this one. As we mentioned before break, still in the playoff hunt now, searching for that final wild card spot. They got to win and get a lot of help. Back to the ground game and a flag. We'll hear from Scott Green.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 95. 5 yards added to the end of the run. First down. Correction, 92.
And a look at our playoff picture. Atlanta, with the win last night over the Lions, they lock up home field throughout the playoffs in the NFC and a first-round bye, but we've heard that story before from them. Meanwhile, your wild card picture, Seattle stepping up their game, as is Minnesota, and the Rams trying to get into that wild card spot somehow.
And San Francisco, to me, is the most well-balanced team in that whole group, and the strongest in all 3 phases when you look at offense, defense, and special teams.
Take the quick hitch. The Rams have played the run pretty darn well today. And I think it's about the speed on defense, particularly the way that front 4 plays. We've seen that all year.
Yes, we have. They're a penetrating defense up front, and they're trying to take the chill off that pass rush a little bit by coming downhill at it and getting Martin back involved in this game and trying to put some of this load on his shoulders.
Pick up a 3. Second and 7. Freeman out of the pocket, slides down at the 39.
Well, this group in the secondary for the Rams have really clamped down the receivers. You know, they've had some big plays with this offense on both those receivers, and they've effectively shut them down with these deep routes, these deep balls. You know, it's hard to get that ball downfield. He has to hold it. You can see him wait and wait and wait, and they just can't get free.
Jeff Fisher doesn't disclose who actually calls the plays defensively, but I know
No, he doesn't.
I know Chuck Cecil, former teammate of mine, is a secondary coach. He's coached his guys up pretty well today. 3rd 2, play action. Got one late to crosser. There's Williams, and Williams is going to run for a while. A cutback. Williams will score. No flags. Count it. 61-yard touchdown. Some missed tackles, and Williams puts it in the end zone. That's his 8th touchdown of the season.
He had a couple of them open there, and he could have taken his pick. Well-conceived play. Watch the movement inside. They're going to get a blitz off the edge here, and he works it and stays on the move. I think this is an adjustment by Mike Williams. I think this just kind of happened. You see him wanting to curl up there,
coming.
and then he just kept coming, and Josh found him.
Yards, and that's what the Bucs needed, because they were starting to fade in this one. So they get close to getting back in the game. It's still a long way to go. 28-13 here in the 3rd.
You take a look at the scoring drive here, and what's important in the last 7 quarters, that's their first touchdown. I think the resilience that Coach Schiano has stressed with these guys, and the toughness, physical and mental, you know, they just keep hammering away, and they're getting back in this game.
And that's 77 career touchdowns for Freeman, tying Vinny Testaverde for the club's record. Givens, and a flag is down.
Illegal block in the back. Number 23, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
Rodney McLeod for the Rams. Big plays desperately needed for the Buccaneers. So the Rams backed up after the big pass play by the Buccaneers. Johnny Smith back in there at the guard spot. They'll alternate those guys today. They went right back to that seam that Kendrick scored on. They can't hit it. That was intended for Brian Quick. Let's go back and look at the touchdown by Williams.
Yeah, I think that I can't quite see who the player is coming out of the corner here, whether it was Stalker or not, but Williams will come up and set right here and work his way in there. You can see the corner, the safety's back here, corner's here. He's wide open in there, and I don't know if he got flushed out of there, but I think that was his first read, and then he was able just to find him.
Well, you're right,
he
had a lot of options.
Yeah, he just reacted to the defense there, and I think he got somebody up in his face and made a play.
Jackson's got a hole. Steven Jackson down close to a first down. Hey, pick up your phone and call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile for only $5. That's all month long. Pretty good deal. Check it out on NFL Mobile. How we were talking about NFL Mobile, we got a hold going against the Rams.
Well, you can just almost sense this changing momentum here, and the Rams are back on their heels here a little bit now with a second and long backed up, and there's not a whole lot to do here. You got to get a quick run out of there or a quick throw, but this is dangerous territory for them offensively.
Last 3 possessions for the Rams, 3 touchdowns. That's going to be a tough trick on this possession. 2nd and 13. Jackson may have lost the yard. Levante David.
Well, they ran a little draw there, and I think they were trying to get that pass rush up the field and hit it, but again, the Bucs have gone back to more and more pressure. They got burned in that too deep, and I think they're closing the middle with a free safety and getting the other safety down in there where he can make some plays.
A hold on Barry Richardson a couple plays ago, put him back in the hole. Nice play there. Rams lucky to get away with no gain instead of a loss. 3rd and long. Jackson with the stiff arm. He's still going. And out to the 12-yard line.
Well, he was close to breaking out.
Yeah, he was. That's Mark Barron on the tackle, but the Rams will have to punt. Pickup of 9.
He's still showing that it's a zone play, trying to get a push, and just you see Barron come up and fit it, and if he doesn't fit that run, that thing might have gone a long way.
Boy, the Buccaneers take a chance. They bring the gunner defending and try to rush it. As a result, they don't get much of a return set up. That ball goes all the way down to the 31-yard line. 57 yards on the punt. 28-13 Rams. So the Buccaneers will set up shop around the 31-yard line. Big pass play last series. On a short yardage play, they were able to hit Mike Williams. Mike Williams with the crosser. But all in all, the Rams defense not giving up much up to that point.
No, I think they're meeting the goals that they had set for this defense coming into the game with these turnovers and forced fumbles and sacks.
High formation. He's got Lorick coming out of the backfield, and he gets pounded. Johnson already with a pick. He comes up with a big hit. That's a pickup of 1.
This, when they say bring the ranch, this is what they're talking about. He's going to bounce inside here and go, and they're going for the block all the way and just let that ball bounce back there and put the pressure on that punter. And I think that, you know, when you're backed up, it takes some courage. It takes some courage as a punter to throw that ball out there. Because if you don't complete it, that ball has a tendency when punters circle end over end. So
that's Bob Ligashevsky, the Bucs special teams coach. You know him. On that one. Good pickup there. That's Martin.
And they're really letting Doug Martin carry the load now and get them in position to make some big plays in the passing game. And I think they'll just continue pounding it with them. They've really changed up their types of runs now, and letting Doug Martin get to the outside here with some pullers and let him feel his way downfield. They're starting to get some creases in this Ram defense in the running game.
7 yards on the pickup by Martin. Third and 2. The defender fell down. Williams has it, but Janoris Jenkins tried to turn and got his feet crossed up.
And that was a deliberate back shoulder throw. He roped it, as they say. He put a smoker out there on him and stuck it right on the backside, made him spin for the catch.
20 yards on the reception. Williams, 4 catches, 101 yards. Of course, the big one, the 61-yarder, helps that average, but he's a guy they're going to and going to well right now.
And he's made some mistakes, but he has sure rebounded here in the second half.
They identify Quentin Michael, 27, coming off the backside. They get Martin. Martin just beyond the line of scrimmage, picks up 1. Laurinaitis with the tackle.
And I think what you hear Josh Martin, he sees the safety come down here, and then he'll make sure that they're running the ball away from him. And usually when that happens, you give the quarterback what you call a check with me. So you have a run to either side, and they come up and they run away from the loaded front or the overload with the safety, and that's, of course, what you saw there.
Martin chasing the franchise record for most rushing yards in a season. He's already got the record for rookie rushing yards in a season with the franchise. That's a great catch, and they'll mark it for a first down. Most likely Stocker really extended himself. Second-year man out of Tennessee, coach.
You know what's impressive about this is just the last 2 possessions is these guys they haven't let up a bit. They're resilient. Josh Freeman hasn't let up. He's still playing with a great deal of confidence despite the turnovers, and they're making plays.
It's impressive.
This goes back to Coach Shiano and the toughness, and both physically and mentally, that he's tried to instill with his football team.
The pump wanted to go, wasn't there, but it's there on the backside, and Williams continues to heat up here for the Bucs. He's inside the 15. That's 17 yards and a first down, working on Cortland Finnegan. Out to Los Angeles. Quickly, an update. Here's Kurt.
Well, the Falcons wrapped up the top seed in the NFC, but Green Bay still has a shot at the number 2 seed. They're pouring it on Tennessee right now. That touchdown pass to Greg Jennings made it 34-0. 5.5 minutes plus to go in the third quarter. Ron and Mike.
Getting hot at the right time of the season. Yeah. They had struggled a little bit early. They had lost all those receivers earlier in the year, and like all good quarterbacks, you don't have that group outside. You are going to struggle.
Martin and Michael, boy, they've made a living bringing Michael off the backside there on the blitz. He holds it to no gain.
They're challenging Josh Freeman to throw the football here. They're getting everybody off the edges and up inside and just squeezing, just taking away all these running lanes as much as they can. And really, to me, the only thing you can do in the running game is get into 3 receivers and force them to spread out and get into some of your nickel runs. But they've really condensed their defense against some of these sets.
Rams a respectable defense by all measures, coming in ranked 9th in the NFL. The total defense. Jackson with a 9-yard gain. Down just inside the 5-yard line.
These are the kinds of throws that he gets him back into rhythm, and that's one of those nice see me now you don't think. Jackson had showed him, watch his move here on the defender coming from the inside. A little move, quickness for such a big man. His ability to change direction and accelerate makes him unique. I mean, he is just what the doctor ordered with this offense.
And see, this is what we've seen from Freeman all year now. He's going in streaks. He's now hit 6 in a row after struggling.
Well, I think the tempo of these throws has picked up, even though the slant route was picked off.
Pressure. Boy, he floated that one up out of the end zone, but Janoris Jenkins had an eye on it. Pressure by Dunbar.
Well, they're going to go to a quick huddle here on 4th down and see if they can't catch the Rams napping a little bit. This is something they practice, obviously, all year long, and they'll try to get it right here.
4th and 1, went with the quarterback sneak. It's going to depend on the spot. I don't think he got it.
I don't think he did either where they're spotting it.
Mike, based on our line, and our line is not the official line. That's our very good estimation, but boy, that looks well short. And
I think he had to make it to the 4-yard line. And I'm not sure he got much past the 5 here. That's a well-coached defense. You know what I mean? They surprised him and tried to get into that quick snap, and they loaded up the inside gaps. They knew exactly what they're doing.
First down, single.
Turnover on downs. That may be a huge play in this game. Rockers was the guy who really wedged himself down in there, and then the rest of the posse came, but somebody had to stop it up.
Well, that gray that you see in Jeff Fisher's beard and mustache isn't from, doing everything right all the time. He's learned his lessons on that stuff, and this is a very well-prepared coach football team. And then they both are, but they didn't catch them with their pants down there, that's for sure.
Jeff Fisher told us this week, he said after that loss to the Vikings there at home, he said, listen, we can do one of 2 things. We can pout and feel sorry for ourselves, or we can go out here and prepare and get ready and act like a team that's won 3 of the last 4. Jackson. Let's go back and look at that 4th down play as Jackson picks up 3.
And we can see Mockers here, I think, right there, if I'm not mistaken, and he's the one that really makes the play here. The quickness, look at the strength here. He stacks that up, and that's what you want. And of course, Laurinaitis is free on the quarterback there, but there's a whole bunch of bodies in there. They didn't fool them.
Ted Larson, the center, who's actually moved over to center for the injured Zutop from right guard. He couldn't get any push. Pressure. And Bradford able to throw it away just in time. He got it out to Matthew Mulligan that they couldn't hook up. Gerald McCoy with the pressure.
I think what slowed the pass rush down for these guys is showing that draw to Steven Jackson, and it really holds you just a little bit in your rush lanes and makes you peak, and I think all their passing game on 1st and 2nd down is off that draw fake to Steven, and then they featured that run.
3rd and 7. got Lance Kendricks in the slot at the bottom of your screen. He hit a big touchdown starting the second half, and something Bradford didn't like. He called a timeout.
This is their first charge, timeout.
They'll talk it over. This is a big play. Could mean they keep the chains going, or big field position, good field position from Tampa Bay.
Hi, I'm Lance Corporal Jake Edwards. I'm a motor team mech at MWSS 373 here at Camp Leatherneck, Afghanistan. I'd like to give a shout out to my mom, my baby brother, I love you both, and to the St. Louis Rams. Let's go, Rams, come on now. Woo!
All right, we heard from the Bucs side, now the Rams side, our American forces. Merry Christmas to all of you protecting our freedom. Big play, 3rd and 7. Quick throw. A little off target, intended for Brandon Gibson.
And
no punt.
And I think what Sam Bradford saw, the defender inside, and he tried to stop him up a little bit with that throw, which you do sometimes with slant. You'd like to be able to keep him from getting way inside, and that's a message from Sam that there's a defender inside. Right there, you can see that defender. He's trying to hold him up a little bit with the throw.
Buccaneers, no trickeration here. They're doubling on the outside, at least on one side. Hecker with the punt. A flag is down. Ball caught in bounds. That's Parrish, and Parrish racked up at about the 42-yard line. Let's check this flag. Scott Green pointing toward the Rams. 54 yards on that punt. Here's Scott.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Kicking team number 23. Running out of bounds, not returning inbounds. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
That's Rodney McLeod. Cotton Bowl action coming your way on Fox. January 4th. It's called the best bowl game of the year. Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel leads 9th-ranked Texas A&M against number 11 Oklahoma. The AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic January 4th here on Fox. Two good teams going to shoot it out. I guess the Heisman Trophy winner has been making the celebrity circuit, huh?
Yeah, somebody said he's on some of those night shows. I don't know about that stuff.
Yeah, son, you got at least 2 more years left if you go early.
Yeah.
So with the penalty now, that moves the Buccaneers up quite a bit. Time winding down here, going up top, just out of reach for Jackson.
Just with Vincent Jackson's size and range, I just like to see him just drop that ball down on top of him and let him make a play. Just too conscious there, I think, of keeping it outside and has a tendency to take off on you. They're getting the matchups, though, with him one-on-one outside, and it's both corners have really risen to the challenge, but they sure have these opportunities one-on-one.
Looking at a comeback. This is going to be tough. And should have been intercepted. Williams fell.
That was an out and up to Mike Williams, and again, he fell down, slipped. What he's trying to do is just give him a chance to go out and make a play one-on-one with the DB. And you can't do that when you're laying on the ground, obviously. But I think, second and long, check it down. If you don't get it, check it down and let your check down get some yards for you and get you to make the third down. It's not a good decision by Freeman.
Clearly too high. And they go from cheers to boos here in Tampa, intended for Jackson. but the punting unit will come on.
Not a good series for Josh Freeman at all. Just bad decision, and he just doesn't look comfortable or confident with his receivers right now. He's just, I don't know, a lack of trust or what.
But Coach, that's been the story here all year long, really, for this offense. Some up and down ebbs and flows.
You're right, and what you read about is the common is always miscommunication between the quarterback and the wide receivers, and usually, like we've seen, it's either broken off route or somebody slips and falls in a whatever situation.
First punt today for the Buccaneers. Kanan puts it up. The old L-wedge backward kick. And it's a fair catch. Rams ball going the other way. And we mentioned that, talked about it during our production calls this weekend. And he was pretty straightforward about it.
Yeah, he was good about it. He just said, we're still working on the timing aspect, and guys are learning what he expects out of them. And I just think, though, with the interceptions, turnovers that he's had, and seeing receivers fall down, it's going to affect you as a quarterback. Your confidence and your trust in those receivers is what this passing game is built on. And you start to lose that trust a little bit, bad things happen.
Richardson hit hard. Rondé Barber coming up from that safety spot, and that concludes the third quarter. 28-13 Rams still in control. Fox NFL Sunday will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Ron Pitts, Mike Marks, Christina Pink. We start the fourth quarter here in Tampa. It was a tight one for a long time. The Rams started to push forward right before the half, 14-6. Then they went with 21 unanswered. That was actually part of that 21 unanswered. But then Mike Williams off of the Krauser route, a 61-yard touchdown. The Bucs finally answering. We've got a 28-13 game, that intended for Danny Amendola.
I think a lot of the problems for the Bucs right now on offense are stemming from these real long play action, real deep drop, run way down the field type of plays, and they've had success with that this year, obviously, but with these corners, they're just not getting free. And I think we'll go back to an up-tempo kind of a pass and get some crossing routes like he scored on. That was an excellent play call.
Bradford 12 of 24 for 200, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Pressure, got it out somehow. The coverage is tight. Almost picked off there. Anthony Gator, intended for Amendola.
They don't look like a demoralized group on any side, on either side of the ball. They're just worried about the confidence of Josh Freeman here, and he's going to get the ball back, and he's getting back in this game.
Roscoe Parrish, keep the takeaway.
McCoy is there with the pressure along with a couple others. The third consecutive 3-and-out for St. Louis. Becker drives this one. Parrish calls fair catch at the 30. 52 yards on the punt. Up and down day for Freeman. Let's see what we get on this drive.
This game is sponsored by the 2013 Chevrolet Silverado. Working hard on and off the field. By Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. And by T-Mobile, nationwide 4G coverage from coast to coast.
Just starting the fourth quarter here in Tampa. Josh Freeman, we talked about him being up and down. He's 17 of 29, 217, 1 touchdown, but the bad part, the Bucs fans, 3 interceptions. Martin, about a yard shy of the first, brought down by Michael.
Let's take a look at this last series, and Josh really struggled with some of these throws. He's got a one-on-one matchup that you gotta like over here with Vincent Jackson. Throws it out of bounds, and this long count out and up to the receiver, and the receiver falls down, and now he's a little shaken with confidence. He sees the defender at the last second and just pitches it over his head. Just not a good series. The patience is the key here for these guys. Mixing that run a little bit and quicken things up.
Manageable 2nd and 2. And they throw it out. That's pretty safe and very well done to Jackson.
Yeah, and now they're moving him in the pocket, which is really good. And an up-tempo, quick out here to Vincent Jackson. I think this is where they're going to make their money and get back into this game. To just be patient with it. Move him around just like you did. Still need to hand that ball off and see if he can't keep that defensive front tied down a little bit.
A pickup of 8. Jackson working on Finnegan. Jackson on the day, 6 receptions, 62 yards. They bring the corner, and it's dropped by Williams.
Yeah, this is, you want to beat this guy up, but he's made an awful lot of big mistakes in this game already. That was an empty set. There's nobody in the backfield. They blitzed it. Josh Freeman stayed in there and put the ball in the crease. The only place he could. He had to slow him down a little bit. It was, well, you know, he had to turn, but he's trying to help the receiver out here with the throw, keep him away from the defender.
That's a great point you make. He doesn't throw him into a concussion, in other words.
Yeah, you know, the safety was coming down on that.
Wide receiver screen. That's a second drop in a row. Different guy. That's Jackson. Rams needing to win here just to stay alive in a very, very jumbled up playoff picture in terms of the wild card spot. They've got a long way to go.
And the Bucs in this series have mixed it up real good. They've got some real nice play selection. Give them a chance to make some plays, get the ball out quick.
Plenty of time, no place to go. Finds one late. That's Jackson. Jackson's got a chance to score. Inside the 10, down to the 7. Michael tripped him up. A pickup of 50 yardage in chunks.
Well, what he did is a sore spot with me, and I love this about him, and not enough receivers do this. He kept the quarterback alive in the pocket. Watch him. He looks back, and he just keeps bringing it. He keeps his speed up. He doesn't slow down. He makes himself available for the quarterback when he's on that inside scramble. Just a real pro and really well done by Vincent Jackson. Saves the quarterback on
7
that.
receptions, 112 yards. That's Jackson. The fade, one-on-one coverage, and it's overthrown. Johnson with tight coverage on Williams.
You have to appreciate on that last play, Josh Freeman stepping up in the pressure. He's going to get on the edge here. He's got a pile of bodies in there. Gets his eyes down the field as he's moving forward, which is extremely important. Never took his eyes off an opportunity down the field. You got to think that Vincent Jackson's going to have a chance with Dallas Clark here in one of these plays down in the red zone.
Yeah, Clark has been quiet today. Only 2 catches. That was high. Boy, when it left his hand, I knew it was high, intended for Jackson.
It's a throwaway. It's a throwaway. That's a throwaway. He's just didn't have another opportunity. The pocket collapsed on him a little bit, and he had to get rid of it. Didn't take a sack. That's a good play by him.
That'll bring up 3rd and goal. There go Jackson up top. Mike Williams down at the bottom. Going to Williams again, and that should have been picked off. Boy, there's just not much separation there. Tremaine Johnson, he's made some plays today.
I don't get it. I don't know. Yeah, Vincent Jackson on the other side of it. I'm just not sure that I wouldn't get the ball over there and let him make a play. I don't know. It's easy for me up here to call these plays, obviously. But watch Vincent Jackson here. I think he got a chance there somehow. I don't know. Of course, it's like I said, it's easy up here when
timeout
after the fact.
Called by Tampa Bay. Bucs offensive coordinator Mike Sullivan seeing something. They desperately need to try to fit it in. 28-13 Rams. Look at that. The Buccaneers on 4th down. They got stuffed once today in the red zone. They're 1 field goal, and that stuff, which was a loss on downs. That was a 4th down play. check down. Nope. No love. Well short of the goal line. They had the score on the 4th and goal. Laurinaitis and Dahl.
Well, I understand the call. They expected cover 2, and the quarterback, when he looks, that backside hook defender generally moves with his eyes, but they didn't do that. The Rams stayed home that time and sat right on the check down.
That's an injured Buck. That's Jeremy Zuta, 5th-year man out of Rutgers. We'll check on him when we come back.
This game is sponsored by the 2013 Chevrolet Silverado, working hard on and off the field.
So a takeover on downs, the 2nd, 4th and goal. Then one was a 4th and inches try for the Buccaneers. They miss on both. Great job by the Rams defense. Jackson with a hole, and Jackson gets him out of the hole. He'll get about 9. What will they call it officially? No, they'll move him back with the knee and call it 7.
Well, they went back to, remember last time they were backed up like this, they were running these draws, and they've got him a little bit more of a quick hitter and trying to get him into that crease and get out of that backed up area there. It's if I tell you, this makes you nervous as an offensive play caller when you're backed up like that.
Officially 2nd and 4. Jackson again, he's out. Steven Jackson lowers his shoulder and down to the 29-yard line.
And you can hear Sam Bradford yell out, kill, kill, which meant they've changed that play to a run to the left side. I don't know what the original play call was, but they saw the safety coming over the right side. Too many men. What kill means is kill the play called, and you go to the backup play, which is running away. And a lot of teams are going to that term, kill, 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 and that's what you heard there.
Good explanation. 19 yards, 22 yards away from his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard rushing season. The cutback. He's getting closer. Down to the 35. For an update on the Minnesota, let's go out to Los Angeles and Kurt Menefee.
Yeah, the Vikings continuing to surprise. They're down in Houston. Toby Gerhart fights his way into the end zone, 3-yard score. They lead at 23-6 right now, 4.5 minutes plus in the 4th quarter. Ron and Mike, Minnesota needs to win out and get a little help to hold on to that 6th spot for the playoffs.
That's right. That's the wild card spot that Kurt is referring to. You got to have help, but forget the help. Just take care of your part, which is to win the game. Jackson and Jackson. Maybe 1 or 2. We talk about the AFC playoff picture. Well, the Houston Texans, along with Denver, New England, Baltimore. Not Baltimore yet, but New England, Denver, division champs. The wild card spot, Indianapolis and Cincinnati.
And I think I expressed to you even in the preseason that the team I really like here, Denver, again, a well-rounded team like San Francisco, good in all phases, but really top-notch on both offense and defense.
3rd and short, out of the pocket. Bennett under pressure, and he threw it away.
That's a very important stop. There's plenty of time with 9.5 minutes to get back in it. But when you look at the 2 4th downs on the 7 and the 5-yard line, there's no points. Now, that's the difference right now. You get 14 points out of that, and we're looking at 28-27, or perhaps they go for 2. But boy, you talk about critical stops by the Rams, and just a failure to get in and convert there is going to come back possibly and haunt this team.
4th consecutive punt for the Rams. Not a lot of pressure. That's Parrish back deep. Parrish, no help at all. Great coverage by the Rams.
As you just seen a real strong performance out of all 3 phases of this Rams group.
.28-13 game. The Buccaneers struggling when they get in 4th down situations. They've failed on both accounts today, and both accounts have been inside the 10-yard line.
One of the last years, I think you know 4 straight passes, but you get caught up in that. But got Doug Martin sitting there too, and he's got to show up in this game.
Well, somehow he got a man loose. Martin tried to go to Martin initially, but he was well covered. He slid out of the pocket, then got to him. A pickup of 17. Well, our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader continues after this game with America's Game of the Week. The Giants taking on the Ravens. This one huge for both teams. Others will see the Bears and the Cardinals. That's all coming up next on America's Game of the Week. And Joe Flacco, he's the guy you want to have in this situation. Thrown some picks, but
well, and they're continuing to get it better around him, and they're really doing a good job managing him in the playoffs and giving him an opportunity to make plays.
Williams with an opportunity and takes advantage of it. He'll get the first down. That's good for 11 yards.
And Flacco just needs to continue to you know, how he finishes the season going into the playoffs and catch fire and take over some of these games. He's not been able to do that.
Freeman, 303 passing, 22 of 39. Ball's up. This is a free one, and the Rams take it. That's Eugene Sims. Brockers tipped it, and Sims got it. That's his first interception of the year. Cecil saying, yeah, we'll take that one.
And Doug Martin did a terrific job on the blitz pickup here, just picking up a linebacker come around the corner on the left side. The protections, you can see Martin locked up there, and for a little guy, he stands in there and takes you right down the middle. It's unfortunate, boy. They just, the feel for the guy, just, you know, being involved with quarterbacks like that, it's hard. You're trying everything you can to help him, and you know, and they're throwing quick balls or screens and all those things.
Boy, Brockers has shown up a couple times. Remember, he had that stuff down there by the goal line on 4th down. That was big. Who hit hard is Jackson. Michael Bennett.
Boy, did he get off the rocket, coach. He was a rocket off that side, dude. I was watching him on that, just kind of isolated, and he just smoked off the edge.
That's a loss of 2. That interception, coincidentally, by Eugene Sims for the Rams. That was his first career.
The Bucs have been impressive on defense, going in and stopping in critical situations like this. See if they can get another stop here.
Screen to Jackson. Boy, the Buccaneers are all over it. Levante David, but the turnovers have been the story. They have led to scores for the Rams. That's 41 there by Janoris Jenkins. And then Laurinaitis got into it. That led to another score. And Tremaine Johnson. Johnson really, I think, has had a chance for 3 interceptions.
He has. He really has. He's just very, very close.
That led to a score by Pettis. And for Freeman, that's 2 straight games with 4 interceptions. Richardson. And the time now for the Rams is, of course, keep the clock moving.
Well, what a big stop for the Buccaneers. There's plenty of time left, 6.5 minutes. He had an opportunity here to get them in field goal range and really make it a 3-score game, and they weren't able to do this. This is an indication of what Coach Young's looking at. I think that defensively, they haven't backed off a lick. They've rose to the occasion. They've really helped the offense, given plenty of opportunities. They just got to finish better on offense and make plays when they're there to be made. Stating the obvious, but they just had some real tragic plays in there affect them. And, well, I tell you what, down on 5 and 7 yard line, not get any points out of it, that's tough.
And the Rams are going to take a delay here. Use all of the clock and then move it back. There's your flag. So with 5:50 left here, a game that's been marked by turnovers, the Rams defense has done a nice job. They've given up a couple of big plays there, particularly in the short yardage, not 4th down. They've risen to the challenge there on 4th down, but the 3rd and short, the big touchdown there to Mike Williams stung a little bit.
Yeah, it did. And you know, what's gone unnoticed really is the job that the Bucs have done on defense. They gave up the big play to start the second half, but you know, once you get past that, they really played a pretty good game the second half.
Becker with the punt. And Parrish with the fair catch around the 13-yard line.
And I think that right now he's pretty fragile. Josh Freeman, you're trying to get him back into this game with 5 minutes to go and give him something he can hang his hat on. But I'd like to see him get the ball to Doug Martin out of the backfield a little bit here too. And the Rams will live by pressure in this game, and I would expect them to do the same formula that they've had all game. So, if they can get that ball to Doug Martin in the perimeter and let him make some plays, then downfield to Vincent Jackson. He seems to be the most consistent guy right now.
So a 1st and 10 for Josh Freeman. Will be set up at about the 12-yard line. Back leaks out late. Great catch there by Martin. And Martin with about an 8 or 9 yard gain.
And that's a called check down him. And he looked downfield and waited and waited. He was going to take that check down. That's a good call. It's a nice play by him.
Both teams in a rebuilding situation. Jeff Fisher has cleared the roster, so to speak. They throw another one. Ball is ripped out, but Martin is out of bounds.
And I think that's the matchup that they have to take advantage of. Is Martin underneath? He'll make guys miss, and he can run after the catch. Obviously, there's time. You can't. You don't have to chuck this thing down the field. They're being patient, but eventually you're going to have to push it down the field here and get in scoring position.
3 in a row to Martin, and Martin will be about 2 yards shy of the first down. Laurinaitis.
And they'll continue to do that until they come up to take him away, and that's when they'll get that throw back behind him.
Buccaneers beat up 41-0 by the Saints. As you called this, coach, you said that they would come in, play better. Haven't seen it in the turnover game. Seen it a little bit on defense. That one high across the middle, intended there for Tyquan Underwood.
And Tyquan, as he came around that corner, we saw Vincent Jackson early really turn and tighten it down and come underneath the DB. And a young receiver there, he fell up the field and really put the quarterback in jeopardy again. Just the refinement of these routes, these receivers, just be consistent for him.
Oh, bad snap. He handled it. Got it down. Looks like enough for the first. Let's see where they mark the progress. That's Mike Williams. Under 4 minutes and counting. The Buccaneers with 2 timeouts. Comeback all alone. They forgot about Underwood again there. He just ran the deep out, but of course the Rams are going to play off and let them have those deep ones. A pickup of 18.
But he did get to him quickly. He wanted to get that ball inside, and they sunk it. He got right back out, and I think they will continue to get the ball back down underneath here on some of these running back leaks that they're throwing. Doug Martin got to put him in position to run after the catch.
First catch of the day for Underwood. That one caught. Ball is lost. They're going to mark it as a catch. And in the tackle, that's Dallas Clark.
And really, he's disappeared in this game to some extent. And his favorite target is to get closer to the red zone.
Time permitting, after this one, we will give you bonus coverage. The Saints and the Cowboys. Big playoff implications for the Cowboys, of course, in that one. As they hold on there to their playoff hopes. Dallas down 31-17.
Boy, what a race in the NFC East, huh?
You know, my theory on the NFC East is they won't let anybody completely fall out. I mean, they couldn't help the Philadelphia Eagles this year.
Yeah.
They were in such trouble, but everyone else, they stay together and keep it close. Tip coming out again. Rams front 4. Well, this group has played well all season long.
No, they really have. The team that I like in the NFC East is the Redskins. They're coming on really, really strong. Take a look at the tip here. Get yourself in a throwing lane. Move around there, kid. Josh, he just gets planted back there sometimes. He's got to get himself in a visual lane to make those throws. He's too big to have tip balls here.
This one just across our board. The Vikings over the Texans, 23-6. Another big win for Minnesota. And that one's going against the Rams.
Here's a zone infraction, 91 defense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, that's his third one. And I think he reminds me of Grant Wistrom, that the high motor guys that are trying to get a jump all the time, and they're taking advantage of it. And this is a good time to do that.
Second down and 5 going up. Well, he caught it, but way out of bounds.
Yeah,
that's Tremaine Johnson.
Just a throwaway.
And sometimes, Coach, it's what you don't know may be good for you. I don't know. But for the Rams, by Minnesota winning that game, the Rams' playoff hopes are dashed.
What I don't think they're really concerned so much about that is how well they're playing and in all phases. And really, as you know, winning is contagious. And they've only lost one of the last 4. And they need to keep that going and ride that wave into next year.
That win by Minnesota also eliminates New Orleans. Pressure, the throw, and on the back shoulder there of Dallas Clark. And Freeman took a hit. Chris Long is there.
Just a real long count pass here. Just nobody's getting off of this. You see him working the right side. He comes back all the way left and late down the middle. And only bad things happen when you're late down the middle. A good form tackle. And Chris Long, he doesn't have any gears. It's stop and go. Some guys have that French bicycle in about 15 gears. Not Chris. You get it all.
4th down and 5. And Freeman will go down. And that'll be a turnover on downs. William Hayes is there. And boy, unfortunately for Josh Freeman, walking off the field like he did last week in that big loss to New Orleans.
Just a lot of indecision in that last series. He's just scanning the field, trying to find somebody to get free. And the guy that kind of disappeared in this game for him, that's been so big for him this year, is Dallas Clark. I know where James Laurinaitis has done such a terrific job, or the safety group over there with the Rams, but he really has been so effective, and he just didn't show up much in this game. The strength of that Ram defense, once you get past the front, those two corners, you know, they can shut you down. And I think what we said earlier, they may be the best tandem in the league right now.
Norris Jenkins along with Cortland Finnegan. The sack credited to Hayes on that 4th down as Jackson now pushes forward for that 1,000-yard mark. Timeout called by the Buccaneers. Jackson getting very close to 1,000 yards.
It's a great article on Steven Jackson in the paper in St. Louis this week about him deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. And I think he's approached that point in his career where I hope he continues to play for several more years, but he certainly has the numbers and the respect. And what he has done statistically, when you consider the group that he's had around him and how poor a football team they've been in recent years, makes it even that much more remarkable.
Jackson 15 yards away from his 1,000-yard season. A 2nd and 8. He'll be about 3 yards shy of the first.
And what's impressive there about Steven, he stuck his foot in the ground, and it looked like he was stopped right about on the 0 there on the 30, and lo and behold, he ends up with 2.5 more yards. He is a load.
And you flip it over, Coach, to the other side, a guy who's been a Buccaneer for a long time, 16 years to be exact. That man, Rondé Barber, 37 years old. Contract situation, contract up. You know, a lot of people questioning whether or not this will be his last home game here, as Christina Pink alluded to in the beginning of the game.
I hope it isn't. I think he's got more football in him. I know it's an unusual situation, but the dynamics of his personality, he brings so much to this football team, and leadership and energy, and he's bought into what Coach Schiano is all about and trying to turn this whole organization around.
Jackson, and he's going to lose on that play. So for the Rams, as we mentioned, by virtue of the Minnesota win over Houston just a few seconds ago, they are eliminated from playoff contention along with the New Orleans Saints. But they can still play toward a winning season. 2-minute warning. Don't forget bonus coverage coming your way right after this game. The New Orleans Saints and the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys must win to keep their playoff hopes alive. New Orleans is gone out of the playoff hunt by virtue of the Minnesota Vikings win over the Houston Texans.
How impressive is that? Boy, the Vikings are catching fire at the right time.
Well, Adrian Peterson has been the catalyst.
And Christian Ponder looks like he's starting to play very well too. So they need that to happen. They need to offset how strong he is in the running game with a better showing in the passing game than what they had towards the late middle of the season. Because Christian Ponder started off really good and kind of faded here a little bit, but defensively in that division, having to line up against those guys twice a year, they are so physical. They come at you so well, and they do such a good job of attacking your protections. It's tough to do. You know, that's a good football team.
We even had a couple of
Don't forget bonus coverage. New Orleans and Dallas coming up right after this one. And America's game of the week, the late one, Giants-Ravens. Another NFC East team holding on by a thread. And there's that Rams defense. The 5th overall sack today, and the 2nd one today by William Hayes.
And that, what is it, 21 or 24 sacks in the season? They were terrific at protecting the quarterback, even with all the issues they've had in the offensive line.
21 total sacks. Freeman holding the ball. That one sails out of bounds.
Well, I think when you look at this football team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Coach Shiano will sit down and evaluate this and look at the performance of all those players on both sides of the football. I think he's a little bit behind what Jeff Fisher had, that situation where he had the advantage of coming in kind of knowing, you know, what he had and made changes. And I think he's going to have some decisions to make here at the end of the season of who stays and who goes.
Third and 14, a long throw. And no flag down. There was contact intended for Jackson. And we were talking about Dallas. You look at the race for the NFC East, the remaining games now. The Redskins will play Dallas next week. They defeated Philadelphia by, you know, what did we say? That was going to be closer than people thought.
Yeah.
One score game there in Philadelphia.
The energy that when we saw them play last week, Ron, the energy which they played that game and the speed defensively, they plugged the holes in secondary, and they're really playing good football right now.
Dallas behind, but they just scored that game now, 31-23, New Orleans. This is 4th down. That's caught, but well short of the first down by Clark. And that'll make it academic and turnover on downs again for the Buccaneers. Don't forget, coming up, America's game of the week, playoff implications across the board. The Giants fighting for their lives there in the NFC East, and the Bears trying to hold on to grab one of those wild card spots, one of the 2 wild card spots.
And to go down to Arizona and win with the things that have happened to them. They've lost a lot of key players on their defense, and offensively too. They're banged up, and boy, that's a challenge for them down at Arizona. Arizona again revitalized and starting to play good again. Just very impressed with this Ram football team and where they are right now. You know, they've done a great job of managing it and playing to their strengths, which I think is very important. Not asking their football team to do anything that they really can't do. They didn't, not pushing the ball down the field a lot because they just can't do that. Defensively, they started on that side of the ball and building the team from that side, and it's been very impressive. And they don't have a lot of changes to make in the offseason, in my opinion, but they make a couple of key changes there. This is going to be an outstanding team.
So 28-13, your final. The Rams After a loss last week to the Vikings, they come here to Tampa, take care of business. Right now, we throw you out to Los Angeles in the studio.